Where is everybody?
Well, we're all here. Good Shabbos, everyone. It is 7 o'clock, and we just went on Facebook Live. So want to wish you all a good Shabbos. It is Rosh Chodesh, so it's also Chodesh Tov, Rosh Chodesh Adar, which means we are to increase joy. We're going to talk about that a little later. So we're going to have, I think, the cantor has got a little special song tonight. Yes? Big smile from Cantor means yes. And just want to let everyone just get a moment to wish each other a good Shabbos, and then we'll mute. So good Shabbos, everyone.
Shabbos, everybody.
Shalom.
Shabbos, everybody.
Shalom, everybody.
Nice
Good
seeing
to
everybody.
see you. Good to see you all. Don't take it personal. I will be muting you all, but I can still see you and you can still see everyone else. So Cantor, don't forget to unmute. And we start our services, as always, with Shalom Aleichem, which is a greeting. And greeting is, at least in the Jewish tradition, one of the most fundamental parts of any interaction is how we greet people. And on Shabbos, we elevate that with a very formal greeting, which is Shalom Aleichem, and then, of course, the response Aleichem Shalom. And it's always done in the plural because when we enter into Shabbos, we think about our community. That's what we're doing here tonight. We are together with community. We put our community first. So we wish each other a Shalom Aleichem, Aleichem Shalom. We begin on page 16 with Shalom Aleichem.
So Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Cantor Saul Zim was just recently honored by the Academy of Jewish Religion in New York with a Lifetime Achievement Award. And if it weren't for Cantor Saul Zim and Craig Taubman and Debbie Friedman, and we wouldn't have all of the wonderful melodies that we have. So in honor of Cantor Zim tonight, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, la 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 la. Shalom Aleichem, Malchei Hasharet, Malchei Elyon, Mimelech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bohem l'shalom, Malchei Hashalom, Malchei Elyon. Mimelech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, la 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 la. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la. Barchuni l'shalom, Malchei Hashalom, Malchei Elyon. Mimelech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bohem l'shalom, Malchei Hashalom, Malchei Elyon. Mimelech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, la 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 la. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, la 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 la.
Well, you got us going over here. We were so loud. We got off from your lead, Cantor. We were behind you, and then we were ahead of you, and we couldn't even hear because we were just getting into it. I hope you all could feel the energy of that one. That's not only one of our favorites, but I think just one that gets us going and certainly in the mood for this month of Adar. Remember that we are increasing joy during this month, not just for our own personal joy, but how is it that we are increasing the joy of those around us? One of the questions I often ask is that when you walk into a room, do you bring joy into the room? Do people feel lifted up when you enter into the room? That should be a question that you ask yourself often, or at least into every room that you walk. Okay, so we're going to turn to page 38 for Lecha Dodi.
So they say that you can sing Lecha Dodi to almost anything. So sometimes this works out and sometimes it doesn't, but you might recognize this one. So you got to, and I can tell whether you're responding, but thank goodness for mute. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, B'nei Shabbat nekabela, 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 Shamor b'zachor, b'dibur echad, Ishmianu el hamilchad, Adonai echad, Ushemo echad, L'shem u'tiferet v'litila, Lecha dodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nekabela, Lecha dodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nekabela. Please rise. Boi v'shalom, ateret ba'ala, gam b'simcha usachala, toch emunei, am segula, boi chala, lecha dodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nekabela, Lecha dodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat, P'nei Shabbat, P'nei Shabbat nekabla.
All right, that got me going. I'm ready. I'm ready for this
It doesn't
month.
take much.
So why don't we turn to page 50 in our Siddur for the Ma'ariv Aravim. There is a beautiful pasuk, or a beautiful verse that says, "You remove the day and bring on the night. You separate one from the other. We call you Lord of heavenly hosts. You are our living God. May you rule over us as you rule over nature. Praised are you, O Lord, who brings the evening dust." And this in our tradition really is what faith is. Faith in the Jewish faith isn't just about what you believe. It's not just about what your thoughts are regarding a religion or that your sincerest hopes. That's not what our faith is. In the Jewish tradition, emunah, or when we say amen, it's something a little different. It's something that we believe, if we're going to use that word, believe that we know it to be true. In other words, have you not become accustomed to the fact that the sun will rise in the morning? If you set your alarm, then you assume that it will. Have we not become accustomed that the sun will go down in its appointed time? We live our lives with the assumption, with the faith that these things will happen in their due time. But none of us, nobody certainly here on this chat, in this world, in Santa Clarita, or in the entire universe, can guarantee it. And yet we have faith. That is what faith truly is, that we know in our heart that it may not happen. And yet we live a life as though we assume, and we have to make plans. So when we say this prayer, this is truly about our faith, and that our hope and our wish and our desire in our heart is that the world will continue in its proper manner. We continue with Ma'ariv Aravim.
El Chai B'Kayam, Tamidim Lo Chalenu Le'olam Ba'ed, Baruch Atah Adonai, Amariv Aravim.
With everlasting love, you have loved the house of Israel, teaching us Torah, its mitzvot, laws, and judgments. Ahavat Olam.
Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Ahavta Torah u'mitzvot chukim u'mishpatim otanu limadeta Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shachbeinu u'vekumeinu nasiach behukecha v'nizmach b'divrei Toratecha ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגע יומם ולילה. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגע יומם ולילה. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגע יומם ולילה. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגע יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ושכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
The Lord said to Moses, "Speak to the children of Israel and bid them to make fringes on the corner of their garments throughout their generations, putting upon the fringes of each corner a thread of blue. When you look upon the fringes, you will be reminded of all the commandments of the Lord and obey them. You will not be led astray by the inclinations of your heart or by the attraction of your eyes. Thus will you be reminded to fulfill all my commandments and be consecrated to your God. I'm the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I, the Lord, am your God."
למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות להם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We now turn to page 64, and just a quick little thought, a little word, a little keta on Vishamru is a part of the Kiddush, actually, but it comes directly from the commandment that we all are aware of, sanctifying the Sabbath. And there is a wonderful, wonderful line, and it says, "Uvayom hashviyi shavat vayinafash." And the translation, at least in our Siddur, it says on the seventh day, the Lord ceased this work and rested. But a literal translation is on the seventh day, we should Shabbat, meaning it comes from the word Shabbat, which means just pause, stop. Get out of your head this idea that you constantly need to be doing something. Get out of their head that you need to arrange your life, that you need to arrange things in the kitchen, arrange things in the house. Get it out of your mind that you need to do that right now. There is time for you to pause. There is an importance to just pausing. And then there's another aspect to it. Vayinafash, the soul rest. There is a part of us that is at home when we stop and we just listen to our hearts, our soul, our inner life, whatever you want to call it. But so much of our life is, even on Shabbat, you can do this. You can distract yourself with so many things. But on Shabbat, we are asked to stop distracting ourselves with everything around us and listen to the stillness, the quietness that is in each and every one of us. Stop with the hustle and bustle, not just in our daily lives, but also in our souls, in our minds, in our thoughts and emotions. Give yourself a break, enough. Sometimes I call it torturing our soul. Stop torturing our soul with all the thoughts and considerations that we constantly are thinking about, and just let it go. In other words, when we let it go, we let go of our thoughts, let go of our opinions, let go of our conclusions, and just be open-minded to stopping for a moment. We rise on page 64 with Vishamra.
Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asod et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berit olam. Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asod et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti leolam, oti leolam, oti leolam. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asod et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim Asa Adonai, et hashamayim, ve'et haaretz, ve'shamru, b'nei Yisrael, et ha-Shabbat, la'asod et ha-Shabbat, l'dorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi'i, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asod et ha-Shabbat, l'dorotam berit olam.
On page 68, we turn to Ma'ariv Amida for the Sabbath, as we take a moment for personal petition, or actually not petition on Shabbos, sorry, personal prayers. And we begin with a little meditation to get us prepared.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi agid tehilatecha. Eternal God, open my lips, that my mouth may declare your glory.
We thankfully acknowledge you, our God and God of our ancestors, Lord of eternity. You are the source of our strength, even as you have been Israel's protecting shield in every generation. We thank you and proclaim your praise for our lives, which are in your hand, for our souls, which are in your care, for your miracles, which are with us daily, and for your wondrous kindness at all times, morning, noon, and night. Source of all goodness, your mercies never fail. Source of compassion, your kindness never ceases. You are our abiding hope.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol eit u'b'chol sha'a b'shlomecha. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
Asher Koach to you, Cantor, as we now place the names of those who are in need of healing spiritually, mentally, or physically. We put those names in our chat so that our community can offer prayers in the names of those who are in need. Amisha Berach for them. Refuah to Nefesh, Refuah to Guf, a Refuah Shlema.
Misha Beherach Avotenu Makor HaBracha Limotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha Beherach Imotenu Makor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
May God send a speedy recovery for those in need of refuah, hanefesh, or refuah taguf, a refuah shlema, a complete healing, a healing of body, and a healing of spirit. And we, of course, all say, Amen. Just to say, when we say Amen, is that we agree, as we said before, and we expect it. There is nothing less than the expectation of all of us that those in our community who are in need of healing, that they will find it. That is our expectation. So we just have a few words of Torah. This week's Torah portion, while very, it's completely filled. Those who are in our Torah study this past Wednesday, and you are all welcome to join us. Many of you who are here now have been on that, but we did discuss that there is a shift in really the way the Torah sounds over the course of the remainder, actually, of the entire Chumash. Whereas before there was a narrative, now the narrative is just sprinkled in with a lot of laws and regulations and expectations, and how it is that we, not only as a people, shall live, but how we as a individual should live, because we are extreme. We are an extreme people that we live really in two worlds: the world in which we interact with each other, and then our internal world. And I am a very, very big proponent that if my internal world is not working well, then it is not going to be well for the people that I interact with. So the most important thing in our lives is that how we handle our inner life. And I'm reminded of that with this month, with the month of Adar. Why is that so? Well, I just want to tell you guys a quick little story. I don't know if you guys remember a few years ago, it's probably already been 20 years now, but there was a movie that came out called Super Size Me. Does anyone remember that movie? Right, Super Size Me. Well, what was the interesting thing about that is, among other things, but what was interesting to me was this idea how easily that we as a society are people that are easily persuaded to upgrade. You just easily walk into a McDonald's in this case, and they ask you quite simply, would you like to supersize your number 3 with a Coke? And you could easily just say yes. And then all of a sudden, certain consequences happen because of that. How quick are we to say yes when people want to add things to our lives, when people are interested in increasing? You can easily see this all over the place. There are constant options that we have. And if you have a credit card, they're happy to sell you the platinum, because who would want to be anything less than better than the standard? We are quick to increase that. I don't know about you guys, but if you go to Costco, right, you can upgrade your membership to this, that, or the other thing. Even on Zoom on this, if you don't want just the basic plan, it's very easy to upgrade. How many of us have clicked a button just to upgrade because what's a few dollars here? What's a few dollars there? It's not that big of a deal. What's really interesting, though, is today is Rosh Chodesh Adar. The month of Purim is in this month. We all know Purim is really, in a lot of ways, a holiday of excess, right? Of increasing our experiences in a joyous manner. But what we are told is Mishe Niknas Adar Marbin Basimcha. What does it mean? It means when the month of Adar enters, we increase joy. We increase it. We get an upgrade in our joy. Yet often, as I said before, when we are asked to do an internal change, notice all of those things that I spoke about were external. They were things that were outside coming in. But when we are asked to do things and increase things internally, do we not kind of hesitate? Do we not kind of pause for a moment and be like, well, maybe I'll do that later, or let me think about it? When we are asked to increase joy or to upgrade our internal experience to make the world a little more joyful, our minds aren't necessarily as quick to accept that change. We have to think about it. We have questions about that kind of upgrade. What do you mean, Rabbi, increase joy? Is joy really happiness? How many of you have thought of questions when even asked to increase joy? What does that even mean, to increase joy? This is precisely what it means, that we are commanded to increase joy when Adar comes in, that we need to focus on what the increase means. Many of us increase immediately and then deal with the consequences later. But in this month, we are asked to increase in installments when the month enters. Today, the month begins. We increase a little bit of the time, each and every moment of the month, one day at a time. How do we increase it? Little by little. You have to ask yourself, where each and every day we take a cheshbon, have you been a little more joyful today than you were yesterday? Have you been a little more happy today than you were yesterday? Did I bring a little more joy into the world, more than I did yesterday? Did I bring a little more joy to those who are around me yesterday? If we do this, we will not only increase our joy, but increase the joy of those around us. And how many of us feed off other people's energy? It's imperative that we do this. Imagine if you would have done this starting when you were 5 years old. Do you think you would be a more joyous person if you did this for, well, in my case, X amount of years, in your case, X amount of years? Do you think your life would be different if you did this little exercise every night? Would it be different if you did it from you were 5? But think about it. Think about it. Think about how we interact with 5-year-olds when they're just being joyous and free. How do you act when a 5-year-old is joyous and free at synagogue? Are you the person that says, shh, be quiet, you're bothering me? Or does your skin crawl when you hear a kid running around in services because you just need the quiet? We have been conditioned at some point when we get older to crush the joy of those around us. It's a fascinating experiment in which we are living and how we should increase our joy. This month today, we start now. Yes, it would have been great if we would have started at 5 years old to ask ourselves these questions, but we start now, and we start with the month of Adar. Each night, tonight, when you go to bed, ask yourself, was I a little more joyous today than I was yesterday? Because I want more than anything by the end of this month that when we walk into a room, people are lifted up. They feel the energy. Not that I'm just fake smiling and feeling good about myself, but I am living a truly joyous life. Shabbat Shalom. We now turn to page 118. If you could please rise for the Elena.
Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula leotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoye ha'aratzot, velo samanu kemishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, va'anachnu korim, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ ומושב יקרו בשמיים העל ושכינתו זו בגבהי מרומים Hu Eloheinu ein od, emet malkeinu efezulato, kakatu v'torato, v'yadata hayom, v'hashevota elevavecha, ki Adonai hu ha'Elohim. Bashamayim imhal ve'al haaretz mitachat ein od.
For sovereignty is yours, and to all eternity you will reign in glory, as it is written in your Torah, the Lord shall reign forever and ever. And it has been foretold, the Lord shall be sovereign over all the earth. On that day the Lord shall be one, and shall be acclaimed as one.
Kakatu b'toratecha, Adonai imloch le'olam v'ed, v'nehemar, v'haya Adonai lamelech al kol haaretz. Bayom hahu, Yeh Adonai echad, Ushemo echad.
May the memories which we cherish and lovingly now recall inspire us to live, that we too may bequeath a heritage of precious memories to those whom we shall leave behind. In tribute to our departed, may we enrich the lives we touch. May we share and preserve the faith which our mourners will now affirm as they rise to sanctify God's name in the hallowed words of the Kaddish, which can be found on page 124. In this week's yard sites, Barnett Miller, father of Jerry Motel, Joseph Rosenblatt, brother of Susan Shear, Irene Levine, mother of Sue Saffer, Albert Pincus, father of Harriet Flancer, Stanley Varoba, father of Joe Osofsky, Mitch Gorman, brother of Corinne Frisch, Herman Hyman, father of Michelle Lobel, Lloyd Mendelson, father of Tom Mendelson, Hannah Sklar, mother of Ken Sklar, Daniel Weiser, father of Sylvia Wendell, Jeanette Eichner, mother of Richard Eichner, Edith Fruchter, mother of Sandra Schwartzbach, Phyllis Katz, mother of Malka Friedman, Martin Jacobs, father of Gary Jacobs, Ethel Rosenblum, mother of Robin Seppi, Delace Ziegler, friend of Irving Zlotnick, Marty Levine, brother of Janet Goddard, Samuel Jacobs, father of Gail Simon. We are in the Shiva period of Donald Jacob Frischman, uncle of Sue Frischman, and we are in the Shloshim of Irene Levine. Those who are mourning, please rise again on page 124 for the mourner's Kaddish. Yit Gadal v'yit Gadash Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma Divra Chirutei v'amlich Malchutei, B'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, Bagala v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabam v'rach le'olam u'me'omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudshah b'rechu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Say shalom ben Romav, huya aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May God, who makes harmony and peace in the heights, grant us harmony for us, for all Israel and all humankind, and let us all say amen. Please be seated. Just want to wish you all, obviously, a Shabbat Shalom. This is the month of Purim, so we increase the joy. May we walk into a room and increase joy. I want to wish you a Yasher Koach, Cantor Cohen, for a wonderful, wonderful, energetic service. I felt it. I got a little schwitzy, as they say in the old country, from bouncing around a bit. So thank you for that. And most importantly, want to wish you all Shabbat Shalom. Join us tomorrow for services at 10 a.m. Online on Facebook, but we also have a Zoom tomorrow in this very room at 6:15 for a Havdalah service, which is short but very, very sweet. So enjoy us as we enter into Shabbat and as we exit Shabbat as well. We conclude our service on page 90 with the the Kiddush. Yeah, Kiddush. I thought Cantor was holding a Havdalah candle for some reason. It was weird. I know. My eyes aren't what they used to be. Please forgive me. We rise for Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu. V'shabbat kodsho b'avav ratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila lamikra'e kodesh, zecher l'tziat mitzrayim, ki vanu v'acharta, v'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, v'ahava uvratzon, inchaltanu, Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh HaShabbat. L'chaim, Shabbat Shalom, Likulam, Chodesh Tov. Have a wonderful, wonderful month of Purim and a good Shabbos.